Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at the biggest special illustration rares in the entire Scarlet and Violet block. Remember, Scarlet and Violet is done now. With the release of Black Bolt and White Flare, that's it. That is the Scarlet and Violet block in its entirety. Gone, donezo, we good. Mega Revolution is going to be the next setup. Whole new block, Mega Revolution block. We don't need to worry about that now, partly because it's not out and partly because it's not Scarlet and Violet. But we've had some special illustration rares going, frankly, a little bit silly, so I thought it might be fun to rank it. Worth noting, there is a lot of regular sets here that just don't get a look in. Like the first 5 regular sets from Scarlet and Violet through Temporal Forces, nothing. Cool cards in there, don't get me wrong, but they have not made this list at all. There are special sets in between that did make the list. There are plenty of sets that didn't get on here. I did initially consider making this list without Prismatic Evolutions, thinking that maybe Prismatic Evolutions would be a little bit unfair and it would dominate the list and kind of ruin it, but that's not true. Of the 10 cards on the top 10, sure, 3 of them are from Prismatic Evolutions, but only 3 out of 10. And there's a bunch here that you might expect to be on the list, but don't. So the Reshiram from White Flare, a $200 card. Big card. Great card. The list starts at, unfortunately, $210. So the special illustration rare Reshiram, it's amazing. We love it. Doesn't make the list. Please bear in mind we're looking at special illustration rares here. Yes, the black and white rare Reshiram would be on the list, but that's not what we're looking at here. The Charizard from Paldean Fates, $195. That's a big card. Yeah, it doesn't make the list, unfortunately, despite how awesome it is. The Latias from Surging Sparks is a $170 card, one of my personal favourites of the entire block. Okacheke artwork, absolutely stunning, does not make the list. Lily's Clefairy from Journey Together, biggest card in Journey Together. It's only at 130, it's miles away from the list. By the way, I was not then running in order of the biggest cards that didn't make the list. I was giving you a bit of a smattering. Unfortunately, none of those ones made the list. So what did? Well, in at number 10, we got a Zekrom from Black Bolt at $210. This is the only special illustration rare from either Black Bolt or White Flare that made the list, and generally speaking, the answer is Reshiram and Zekrom are pretty similar, but Zekrom's been a little bit more popular. That's your answer. Seems to be a little bit more playable, though I would be remiss if I didn't mention that there was a Reshiram in top 32 of Worlds, which I did not see coming. And it's Zekrom, you pop it with Electric, and maybe you've got a little bit of a deck coming in. Box Legendary, beautiful artwork, comes in at number 10. In at number 9, we've got Cynthia's Garchomp from Destined Rivals. Not the only card from Destined Rivals that makes this list. Not that many of the sets here are rocking more than one. Destined Rivals is, I do keep telling you, that is a pretty big set. And the thing about Cynthia's Garchomp is we've got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. Firstly, we're talking about Cynthia. Everybody loves Cynthia. Secondly, we're talking about Garchomp, a very popular Pokemon, certainly in that top tier of popular Pokemon. And thirdly, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that this is the most playable deck out there, but I am absolutely going to pretend that this is a viable deck that's been getting top cuts, winning little tournaments in Japan, etc. ever since it released. There is a little bit of viability here, but then you add in Cynthia and Garchomp and you're like, oh yeah, of course that gets on the list. In at number 8, we've got the Leafeon from Prismatic Evolutions at $215. Like I've said, there are 3 cards from Prismatic Evolutions that makes the list. That makes this the 3rd biggest card in Prismatic Evolutions, which I personally find fairly interesting, because I wasn't sure Leafeon was going to be number 3. Like, Flareon's a lot more playable than Leafeon, but Leafeon gets in here. Why does Leafeon get in here? It is worth noting a lot of these, after the top 2 at least, a lot of these cards from Prismatic Evolutions are fairly bunched up together, so that's certainly going to have an impact. But the reality is, people just love Leafeon. The top 2, and if you don't know who they are, don't worry, we're going to get there in a moment. But the top 2, you could have guessed. They're the top 2 evolutions, are always the most popular. Why does this get in at number 3? That's a little bit more confusing to me. I never thought it was the most popular. It's certainly not the most playable, but it is in there at number 3 at $215. Also at $215, in at number 7, the Charizard from 151, the earliest card on this list chronologically, if anybody's interested. Now, I know the first couple here have been tied. 9 and 10 were both 210, 7 and 8 are both 215. Generally speaking, Charizard is trending a little bit higher. And it's interesting that this is the only card that made the list from 151, given how popular 151 as a set is, but it's Charizard. Now, the Charizard from Paldean Fates may not have made it. This Charizard absolutely does. It has stunning artwork. I personally prefer the one from Paldean Fates, although I did pull this one from a pack. There's not that many cards on this list I pulled from a pack, but there are 2, I believe, actually in the top 10, and then a few in the honourable mentions. I love this card. I have this card. So I suppose for me, it's better if this card just gets better and better as time goes by. It's not even the most playable Charizard. The other one is by far the more playable of the 2, but the reality is, this is the one that gets on the list at $215. In at number 6, the Pikachu from Surging Sparks, coming in at $250. And this is kind of the part of the video where I start going, well, hang on a second. That Pikachu was a huge card when it came out. That's, it's one of the ones I've got in my head as one of the biggest cards in the entire block. And to be fair, it is a top 6 card, but it's at number 6 at $250. That is how silly some of the cards in this block have gotten. And this has got everything going for it. Artwork is stunning. It's Pikachu, the most popular of all Pokemon. And it's incredibly playable, because firstly, it does 300 damage, yay, but it's also got an ability which stops it being one-hit KO'd, which also means it is the Terrestrial Pokemon of choice if you just want a random Terrestrial Pokemon to whack on your bench to activate cards that need a Terra Pokemon in play. Absolutely stunning card. I did the Guinness live stream with Joe for 2 hours over at Pokemon HQ, where we basically spent 2 hours opening Surging Sparks. Did not pull one of these. Pulled 2 Latias, yay! Didn't pull one of these. In at number 5, we've got the Greninja from Twilight Masquerade. And this is one of those cards that's interesting to me, because on the face of it, I don't think this Greninja should be this high. Now, let me be very clear what I mean here. This is a great card. It is an incredibly playable card. It's been popping up in decks. The art is clearly fantastic, and Greninja is a very popular Pokemon. It's been featured in the anime and all of that. There is nothing here that should put Greninja as a top 5 card. This above the Charizard from 151, that's a Charizard, and it was in a special set which was sold out like everywhere the whole time. This above Cynthia's Garchomp, which is incredibly playable and has Cynthia and Garchomp on. This above the Pikachu from Surging Sparks, which is a much more playable card and has Pikachu. I'm not saying this isn't a cool card, but I 100% am saying I don't think there is any real logical reason for this card to be this high. This is one of those cards, and this is something that's happened a fair bit in the Scarlet and Violet era, where it started going up in price and rumours started spreading and people just inflated it. I think a large part of the popularity and price of this card is just the fact that it became expensive, because I'm not seeing anything in Pokemon, artwork, playability, or anything else which should be putting it this high. Although it is $280. Yowza. In at number 4, we got the Sylveon from Prismatic Evolutions at $290. This one's super simple. It's the second most popular evolution. Prismatic Evolutions is the evolution set, super popular, and very hard to get hold of. And Sylveon's number 2, so it gets boosted up to $290. Doesn't see that much play. Sees a bit of play here and there, not that much. But the reality is, second favourite evolution. In at number 3, we got Team Rocket's Mewtwo, coming in at $340. This is the other one from Destined Rivals. Very big card. And this card as a whole just confuses me. Because the thing is, Destined Rivals is a great set. We know that. Everyone loves Mewtwo, everybody loves Giovanni. But this card was clearly supposed to be good. The Mewtwo League Battle Deck, anyone? That was clearly supposed to be good. The fact that it was the big card from Glory of Team Rocket, the Team Rocket portion of Destined Rivals, this was clearly supposed to be a huge card. Playability-wise, it hasn't been, but value is still holding up there very nicely. In at number 2, we've got the Mew from Paldean Fates, and honestly, I like this. I genuinely like that this is up there. I think this is exactly the kind of card that should be up there. Firstly, the Mew is incredibly playable. Ability draws cards, attack gets to copy an attack from your opponent's active. This Mew is phenomenal. And secondly, look at the art. Uzcaman's first ever artwork in the Pokemon TCG. They've been doing fan art on Twitter and places for years. Wonderful artist, finally given a chance, made one of the coolest cards in the entire block on a very playable card. Yeah. I mean, I don't have this card, it's $580. I will now never have this card. But make no mistake about it, this is still a big card. But you know number 1's the Umbreon from Prismatic Evolutions. And I know that people have been saying, well, that's been coming down lately. Yeah, it has. From like 1,200 to 850. The number 2 is Mew at less than 600, 580. The number 1 is Umbreon at about 650. Yeah, it's come down from where it was at one point. But let's not go pretending this is anything other than an absolute monster of a card. This is the number 1 card in the Scarlet and Violet era, and it's not even close. And essentially, it's Umbreon. And honestly, a lot of the success of this card can be traced back to Evolving Skies. Because the biggest card in the Sword and Shield era was Umbreon VMAX, the Moonbreon. So the second we get a good Umbreon card nowadays, everybody likes to start pushing it up. That is exactly what happened here. And the next big Umbreon card, it's going to happen with that one as well. Umbreon has now gotten to that point where the big cards are getting pushed a lot. This really has been riding the wave from Evolving Skies. But it's weird because it's gone to the point now where, yes, it was riding the wave, but now it's just an Umbreon thing, and it's going to be an Umbreon thing moving forward. May or may not have pulled 2 of these from the same box. Check my channel to see what I'm talking about. For now, ladies and gentlemen, that is your top 10 from the entirety of the Scarlet and Violet block. There will be no others released, but please do bear in mind there will still be changes, but it will be the market sorting itself out. We're not getting any new cards. So there we go. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this list. Tell me which of these cards you've pulled, bought, or otherwise acquired. Tell me anything you want to tell me in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, join a Discord, and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Dingus, who's been a supporter of ours for a long time now and seems to be a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.